Moderation helps everyone feel safe. Hello. So I wanted to talk about your Mercury card because pretty much everyone will know if you know what your moon card in your regular hand is, if you have seen this chart and someone has told you, like, say you're the 8 of spades, someone said, well, your moon card is the 10 of diamonds because it's behind you. And then you go Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, etc. Okay, if you know what your moon card is, you know what your ascending Mercury card is. Excuse me. So, if other people show up, tell me your birthday, and I will talk about your card. So, hey, we're back. Okay, so remind me what what your card is and your name. And I'll go, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. Okay, so here's my card, 7 of diamonds. And we think of the 7 of hearts as our moon card. Okay, it's your ascending Mercury card. Ascending means when you're on top of your game, when you are living in service, when you are doing good and enjoying safe pasture, you are autonomously acting, being in the world. You're not necessarily digging up and dealing with your issues. 2 of spades, that's right, Raymond. Right, she's a king of diamonds. Okay, I'll talk about you guys. But going back to myself for a second, so this moon card, this 7 of hearts, somebody made a comment to me one time years ago that said, I have the ability to communicate with someone who may emotionally be like a burn victim, in that my words are very gentle and very soft. I've got the capacity to do no harm with my words. And what she was observing is that I was using my ascending Mercury to communicate, that when I'm in service and communicating, that 7 of hearts is capable of being very, very tender. It loves unconditionally. It lets go emotionally. And that's also a service and a paradigm that I share with the world. And indeed, as Raymond knows, he joined me in my video on my other channel where I'm working through a knotty issue. Yesterday I got the concept and presented it all, and then, hi Liara, 4 of diamonds. And then today I had a sticky situation. I'm like, okay, here's how you apply it. And it was all about this whole 7 of hearts thing. So it's like I'm just proving to myself that, okay, so Raymond is, Raymond is the 2 of spades. So in this spread, you've been told that your moon card is 4 of diamonds, and how fortunate that Liara is the 4 of diamonds. This always happens, right? So what this means is that, Raymond, your communication style. Well, and here's one way to kind of explain how, okay, when it's your moon card, it's like an emotional issue that you have to resolve. And then when you do, you gain mastery, then you can communicate what you've learned, be that in the world. So like the 7 of hearts, I had to learn to deal with a very sticky internality, being overly sensitive. That's what a 7 in your moon position is going to make you. So then you deal with that sensitivity, you discover the source of it, and you become sovereign and autonomous, so that you're not so victim-y and, subject to the world. You take control. And then for me, the flow goes out in the form of forgiveness and non-attachment. So that's how that becomes, I overcame it. So it becomes communication. So the 4 of diamonds as a moon card would be, for you, Raymond, maybe being too square or needing security, needing predictability to feel emotionally safe. Fours are about structure and routine. And Liara, I know that you're not this, okay, because this is the first card that instructed me that sometimes a card is more influenced by what's under it, the position it sits in. Yes, the four can be very sensitive because it's all about security versus insecurity. Do I feel safe? But that five of spades under there, you might be experiencing some of this too. It's adventure experience. I want to go out and like experience things. It can also be a restlessness. Oh, I'm getting really bored with this. I need to change this up. I need something else. Um, but yeah, I think needing to feel safe, let's just take that for the emotional issue. So when that becomes your ascending Mercury and you move into that ascending hand, your communication style makes other people feel safe. And in my limited experience with you, I can definitely say that's true. That four of diamonds is like here, the positive aspect of it becomes a gift going out to others in the way that you talk and think. So it's also a message to the world, you're safe and you get to play and have fun. That five of spades influence can come in there that's like, hey, let's go on an adventure. Let's do something fun and interesting. And I know that Liara, I would very much like to have known you in high school because I imagine you did that with your friends. You're like, hey, let's go get in some trouble. Let's go do something unpredictable and fun and, an adventure. So, how does this work for the four of diamonds? So, Liara, the four of hearts would be your moon card. And again, that's a really Liara is different to talk about in regard to the cards because you know how we all got our minds wiped when we came in? She didn't have as much of that. So there's not quite as much expression of the construct of a four of diamonds. Okay, you were too busy on adventures, never went to school much. That is so perfect. That's so perfect. Okay, well, let me just try this anyway. Your moon card is actually a double four, four of spades, four of hearts, sitting in that position in your moon position. So in childhood, this would be a need to feel secure, a need to feel safe, and usually one's environment will be threatened so that you don't have that feeling, so that you can develop this homeopathic, internally generated, autonomous, I create safety for myself. And I know that's true about you. You brought in some really ancient soul knowledge to establish that at a very young age. So then, once that is attained, then you turn around and help others. The word that's coming to me is orient. You orient others. Like home base, the base chakra, the four, the foundation. If I know where I can land, where I can come from, where I can go home and feel safe, where I can curl up in a ball and disappear, home. Once I can orient there, then I can know where I am. I can feel safe to go out from there. And I do think that with the messaging that you've given, the speeches going back even to that, sometimes I still think about that. Um, I can't even hardly pull up the name. Galactic Connections, was that it? Because she's obviously not doing that anymore. But that interview where I discovered you, your message was very orienting for me in a dramatic paradigm shifting way, but a way that my soul remembered. And it's like, I feel safe in the world now because I feel oriented about who I am, what I'm doing here, and the nature of reality. So that's a gift that you give is the four of hearts, four of spades. I'm going to make you feel safe. And it's a very tender, it's a very tender vibration where you can speak into someone's situation. And yeah, with that, that 7 of hearts that I've got. It's very similar that way. Doesn't mean we do it all the time. It just means that's the ascending vibration. Okay, so now let's do Alicia. So where are we with time? I don't know where we are. Oh, 10 minutes. 10:10. You can pull up 10:10 because that's when we're going to talk about the King of Diamonds. So King of Diamonds, and what's nice about this is that this will apply to all diamond males. All diamond males. Pay attention. Okay, so their moon card is the King of Hearts, the descending moon card. So I'm starting there. So what is the issue they have to resolve emotionally? Well, King of Hearts, like they're put in situations where they have to learn emotional mastery and tact. You think of famous successful businessmen that like learn how to play the game, kind of the art of war. They learn the landscape, and they learn that if they push this button, they'll get this result. That's the King of Hearts. And you can play that chess game with love and integrity and clarity and being a king of diamonds, a king of your own integrity, or you can play it in a manipulative way and be naughty and selfish. And we know that there's a lot of that on this planet. In fact, their Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, their descending Jupiter is the king, or is the Jack of Spades, which is the potential to deceive in order to profit. Or to enlighten, to play the role of the shaman, to do a little spiritual woo woo, tricky wickiness to wake people up. It's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so the King of Hearts in this moon position, the graduation that is required is a taking full responsibility of one's own emotional development, but also kind of like a lay of the land. I know how to navigate people. So when it turns around and becomes an ascending Mercury, this gift of one's communication and the thinking style is, I can imagine it's kind of tiring and overwhelming, but it's like taking into account everyone's feelings. It's real leadership. It's knowing what to say and what to do in a kind of shepherding capacity. Like I'm thinking of the words, and you'll know what I mean. Um, Go home peacefully. Everything's going to be okay. We're taking care of this. Messages that are kind of managerial on a large scale that address the emotions of the group that's listening, addressing the feelings. So, yeah, the gift that they give is also calling other people to this level of mastery. And yeah, okay, so that person that I'm referring to, this successful businessman, is not actually the King of Diamonds. He's just a diamond male, so this doesn't apply in all the ways. But this is an interesting thing. I'm going to pull this in since I'm describing Alicia. So your ascending moon card then becomes the Six of Hearts. So what is this? So the way I describe the ascending moon, so I'm going a little off topic here, is this the secret in your back pocket that arms you to go out into the world and feel safe and solid within yourself. And I would interpret this like the Six of Hearts to be a sense of duty, responsibility, not caretaking, but I know what my responsibility is. It's also a card of divine calling. So there's like this awareness that everyone has their divine calling, and I know what my divine calling is, and that resolves a lot, doesn't it? This is a really good lesson for anyone who's a diamond, because like I came to this insight a long time ago where it was like wow, no matter what's going out there, no matter what's going on, or my emotions, my construct, my emotional journey, whatever's going on, relationship crap, it can all resolve crap. I shouldn't use that word, but it can all be resolved when you think of divine purpose. I have a divine purpose. You have a divine purpose. And that kind of straightens you up and aligns you. And it's like, okay, that's my primary reference point is what did I come here for? I'm fulfilling my purpose. So everything else is kind of falls to the wayside, right? So that's a King of Diamonds anchoring so that you can, when you're speaking, be gracious, be kind, um, skillful. That's the word, to be really skillful. Oh, she's a healer. That's, yeah. And healing with one's words. And so she's flanked with the King of Diamonds is flanked with hearts, Six of Hearts on one side, King of Hearts on the other. So the mastery of living in your integrity. So, as a general lesson for anyone regarding the diamond suit, because we all have all suits in our hands, right? You're basically everything. So, the mastery of the diamond suit is really to be kind. That heart emphasis is remember that relationship is really, more important than anything. How you are with people, how you treat people. It's like no matter what's real or isn't real, when we get to the other side, you're going to feel the pain that you caused others. You're going to feel the love and the healing balm that you gave others. So, yeah, it'd be fun to talk about the court cards in that way. If you look on the playlists of this channel, I've already given a really thorough deep dive into every single one of the court cards. So, like if you're a club and you want to know what your inner child is like, you listen to the Jack of Clubs video. And you can see how it's in relationship to other cards. Like, for example, Queen of Diamonds and Jack of Clubs. Diamond females manifest club males in order to transcend their ego. So the club males will trigger the hell out of them. And once they can transcend that, then you're free. They can be really free, autonomous, to do good, dwell in the land, and enjoy safe pasture. It's like, I'm finally getting that verse. It's about autonomy. It's about I am not this powerless victim they told me I was. They've conditioned me to believe I was. I'm a lion. I'm a sovereign being. I'm, invincible kind of thing. Okay, does anybody want to ask about any other cards or birthdays? And we can go into a discussion of your Mercury. Not sure her ex was, both of our exes were Libras. That's interesting. Stuart's and my first marriages were both the Queen of Hearts. Talk about, it's like, whoa. We both had to learn a lot of the same lessons. Our partners were both very imperious. You should. Judgment was a really strong vein in there. So it's like, yeah, when you realize your exes had something in common, it means you've resolved a lot of that so that you can come together and be the blessing that you were trying to be, with the other person. So it's like a negative soulmate. Yeah, right. But your perfect foil, the person that showed up to expose something in your field so that you could work on it. So that book, that Conversations with God, that guy, he wrote this really, really important children's book, and I bought it, and I might still have it somewhere, but it's the story of soul contracting with the most negative people in our lives, the most destructive, the most whatever. Um, I had the thought on my walk this morning that maybe my mom and I are the same soul, And she agreed to be the more dysfunctional one so that I could turn and look at that and be like, oh, I can see the anatomy of this thing. I'm not going to do that. On some level, we're doing that with all the generations, right? So it's like just choosing to incarnate and act out your shit is an act of service to anyone who wants to look at it and wake up. But yeah, it's about this little angel that says, I'll show up and be that person that does this terrible thing to you so that you can learn this lesson of forgiveness, because he's like, yeah, I really want to learn this, but I need a volunteer. I need someone to play this role. So it requires a great deal of love. So anyway, yeah, that's really important to think about. Um, what else do I want to talk about? So the way I give a reading now, so this is like for intermediate to advanced card people. If you have all of these grids, okay, here's age 56, age 57. There are 45 of these. Goes in a very specific order. Each one moves a position. Like if you follow one card all the way around, it sits in all of the 45 movable positions. There are 7 cards in the deck that they never move out of position. So there are 45 movable positions. So at age 45, you start over again and you get the same grid. So anyone who's 57 looks this up and they locate their card, and that's how they determine what their hand is this year. So you find your age, and I'm sorry if you don't know where to get this or you don't have it, I can't really help you. But so, like I said, this is for the intermediate to advanced. You find this, and then, like for me, I'm a 7 of diamonds, so I'm always either here or here down at the 9 of hearts. And yes, Robert Camp's book does have all of the cards to the left and down as my hand this year, and then also the vertical as the other card. Okay, so what I can do is just go in the other direction and say, okay, according to Robert Camp, my Uranus card is the Queen of Clubs. But what's my ascending Uranus card? It's the 9 of Clubs. So rather than just going down to get Uranus, I can go up: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus. So I've got 9 of Clubs, and these two are connected. This is a wonderful formula to say, okay, the Queen of Clubs down here, my descending Uranus, Uranus is a period of integration. The Queen of Clubs is an organizer of information. She organizes information so that, and that's how you frame the descending and ascending. You accomplish this so that this can happen. So I'm organizing information so that 9 of Clubs, I can let go of old paradigms during this integration period. And boy, howdy, am I ever doing that. Yeah, so isn't that amazing? I wish this system were more amenable to like helping everybody in a given moment, because I know that makes you really curious to be like, oh, what are those are the two relevant cards. Yes, there's the vertical, and I found that to be somewhat relevant, but to me, this is the more relevant two cards. So let's look at my thought process. Yeah, they're saying look at Mercury. So my descending Mercury is the King of Diamonds. I have to take stock of my integrity, being the sovereign king in my own kingdom, so that I can accomplish my ascending Mercury, which is the Ace of Diamonds. I can know my own individual value and maybe develop a desire for a particular kind of business. And like that's reflected in the remote viewing thing. It's like, oh, what I really want, desire, which is diamond, is I really want to learn how to be a remote viewer. So the Ace of Diamonds is like, oh, that might open up a new business possibility for me. And definitely, I'm using this technique, like it's changing my brain. So I use it everywhere I go. So yes, I use it when I give readings, and maybe a new business thing will occur to me. Anyway, I kind of don't know where to go from here. I would like to work with one of you instead of just kind of, you know, looking at myself, but I'm sharing a formula, sharing insights. Oh, good. Yes, the Ascending Mercury is the moon card. Whether you're looking at your life spread or this year. So I know Robert Camp doesn't mention the moon card, but it is here. So you take your age. My descending moon card this year is the Ace of Diamonds, so I have the potential to become very selfish, be very self-centered. My ascending moon card would be the other direction, King of Diamonds. So my safe place is that I can live within my own integrity. Okay, so one more. I actually have an off-topic question. Perfect. What cards would indicate a spiritual medium or psychic in their cardology chart? Since you're on the topic of remote viewing. Oh, okay, Bronze Beauty. I'll answer that one too. What significance is the transformed self card? So it has a number of different names because we haven't really standardized this whole system. We're all kind of giving things our own names. So I'll clarify what she's talking about and I'll tell you what I call it and how I think of it. So, what cards would indicate a spiritual medium or psychic? Okay, that's a very good question. There are a number of cards that represent. Oh, I got to put on these ugly glasses again. See, it's like so hot, and I worked outside that I soaked my head. So it's like that's why I'm wearing a hat. So anyway, um, the Ace of Spades is the first one that comes to me that says, I want to see what's beyond the veil. I want to understand the secret formula and understand that every single one of these cards that could indicate a psychic could also just indicate a very mundane expression. So a lot of Ace of Spades people just like a chemist or a travel agent or someone that's just like, I want to understand the secret formula, or I just want to investigate this thing. It can make someone very curious. A mechanic, it can make excellent mechanics. Um, Another psychic card is, and Robert Camp talks about this, the Queen of Clubs, because it's the intuitive knowledge card. But I say any club, if you're going to take it into the realm of consciousness, is whatever that number is, it's going to express. Okay, so for me, I've got 9 of clubs in Mercury, Venus. I've got it in my Mars, so I have translated that with my vibe, with my frequency into I'm open at the top. I'm open to all knowledge, and I am passionate about all knowledge. I want as much knowledge as I can possibly gain. So any club really can be interpreted that way. The Jack of Spades is about, okay, so being psychic or specifically you said medium or psychic. So it's about the mind or the communication realm, consciousness. Those will be more likely clubs. But things like a shaman, that's more likely to be a spade, like the Jack of Spades, because it's transformational in the way you express your physical self in the world. So, it's actually, you have to be really specific, about that kind of thing. I would say remote viewing and that kind of thing it's a knowledge thing, it's an energy thing, the ability to read energy, to listen. Yeah, I think I would still put that all in the club category. But there's also an intuition that's more about like feeling. So that I think would be a heart. Um, and that 7 of Hearts is about precision in the emotional realm, in the feeling realm. So actually, that question has a more profound answer than you would just think at first glance. Okay, what significance is the transformed self card? And I know, Ray, that you're going to say thanks, so I'm just going to say you're welcome. The transformed self card. Okay, so Bronze Beauty, What is your card? Let's talk about you. Are you the King of Diamonds? Are you Alicia? So, the transformed self. You're the Eight of Clubs. Yay! I love Eight of Clubs because they're so special. It's been a random channeling and premonition of dreams, but I've always been curious what system would provide a clear indication of such. That's all. Yeah, you're welcome, Bronze Beauty. And Ray, okay, so you being the Two of Spades, where does your intuition come from? Well, check this out. Not only is the Two of Spades right next to the Ace of Spades in the spiritual spread, but you're ascending Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, King of Clubs in Jupiter. So the capacity of mind to be in service to the collective is the mastery. There's a mastery of consciousness there in Jupiter. Communicating Saturn. So communication really is your highest calling. Skillful communication. And the Ace of Spades sits under that, which is the other realm. So I consider this the medium card. That's where that comes from in your chart in particular. Okay, so Eight of Clubs, the transformed self. So let's go descending because you're more likely to be familiar with that, right? So Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Um, okay, whatever names the next four cards have, I think of them very simply as Jupiter plus Saturn plus, Jupiter plus Saturn plus. And that's kind of even the names that because like one of them is Cosmic Moon, right? Um, but anyway, yours would be the 10 of Hearts, the transformed self. I would call it Saturn plus plus. I would say what we know is that it will be a really big challenge, one of your ultimate challenges in becoming who you really are meant to be. Like when you meet somebody who has really transcended their ego, we're talking a level of mastery that involves like a shit ton of meditation and that kind of thing to really let go of the ego identity. So I'm raising the bar really high here because the Nine of Hearts, and here's the tricky thing about being the Eight of Clubs, is that you've got me coming and going. You've got the Seven of Diamonds / Nine of Hearts as your transformed self card on both sides, which means you're my transformed self card. My daughter's the Eight of Clubs, and it's like, mm. It's really intense. It's a very intense relationship. Sometimes intensely good, sometimes intensely difficult. So I would say the significance of that card for you, my interpretation based on knowing and understanding her, is that Nine of Hearts is okay. The words that are coming to me, take these with a grain of salt, but this is something that's coming through. Total dissolution of self. Nine is a transcending, releasing, total. It's a transcendent number, the numberless number. It means like my Nine of Clubs, open at the top to all knowledge. This is open to all love, inundated with love. And I know that this is supremely difficult for the Eight of Clubs because they have an extremely powerful mind, which means they've got some pretty deeply embedded ego fixation structures, constructs, is what I'm calling them lately. Your concepts of the world, the cocoon that you live in. This is that, this is me, this is you. Ideas. And they're brilliant. And I think this is another reason why it's a challenge to get to that total dissolution of self, and there is nothing but love. If that's wonky to think about the dissolution of self, just don't worry about it. It's kind of a Buddhist idea, but dissolution of the ego, where you just realize your essence is love. That's my exposition on the transformed self. Here's something else I've discovered. If you go one card more, okay, so Jupiter, Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. One card more. It seems to be really important. And so far, with the Eight of Clubs and the Seven of Diamonds, it ends up being, for me, the Six of Diamonds, one card more, which is one card less than the Seven of Diamonds. Your one card more is the Seven of Clubs, which is one card less than the Eight of Clubs. Okay, the one card more, let's test out the Two of Spades. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. One card more is the Three of Diamonds for you, Two of Spades. So for me, when I look at Six of Diamonds, I'm like, ugh, I'll never be that. Like, I'm not going to go into that. Like, it's way too complicated, but it ends up being like in your hand, like really close to you somewhere. So for the Seven of Diamonds, it's their, spiritual hand moon card. For the Eight of Clubs, that Seven of Clubs is your spiritual hand moon card. So you're working with that energy all the time anyway. It's the tendency to expect bad things. Eight of Clubs, the expectation of disaster. It's hard, right? It's that negative worrying fear kind of construct, but it also is the card of incredible discernment and sensitivity to energy, the ability to be a Reiki or a healer or a massage therapist, or yeah, it's highly sensitive. It's rough having a seven in your moon position, right? I love these questions. So yeah. So what's your ascended transformed self card? Ascending transformed self for the Two of Spades. Let's do Ray really quick. Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. Guess what, Ray? Your transformed self card. Okay, so if we go Seven of Diamonds and you make that, I make the leap down to transform self, I end up at Eight of Clubs. If she makes the leap down, she ends up at Nine of Spades. And if nine of Spades makes the leap down, ends up Two of Spades. So your ascending transformed self card is the Nine of Hearts. So this is how we're all weirdly connected in this video. That is so crazy. And one card more for the Nine of Hearts is the Eight of Hearts. Oh, that's so weird. And one card more. Okay, ascending for the Two of Spades. One card more is the Three of Spades. Okay, so there's something going on there that we haven't named. We don't know what it is, but it's kind of an operating principle. Let's look at the King of Diamonds. Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. One card more is the Queen of Diamonds. This is descending. Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. One card more for the King of Diamonds is the Queen of Clubs. So one, either descending or ascending, is the card right next to you. That's crazy. Today's the Three of Clubs. That's my partner. My soon-to-be husband. We're going to get married in September if the world doesn't fall apart. We're actually going to get married. The stars, I swear, I know for certain we knew you in another lifetime. Kismet, I'm always amazed how these things connect. Oh, I love that you said that. I know, I love it. Maybe another planetary system. So the Three of Clubs, descending, transformed self, and plus one. What should we call it? I don't know. Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. It would be the Four of Diamonds for the Three of Clubs. Okay, so here's where Liara comes in. Today is your ascending, okay, the card of today, Three of Clubs, is your ascending transformed self card, like this achievement, total dissolution of ego. It would be that you are open to all ideas and are willing to express yourself with words. Oh, thank you, right? I know, right? That's what I get too, is that the reason it might I just have this premonition it's not gonna happen because something's gonna happen. It could be a travel ban, it could be blah, 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 I don't know. So I'm just not gonna try to figure out what it is, but I think I had a dream about the ring last night. Yep. So I think we're supposed to go ahead with it. Yeah, I'm gonna have tanzanite for my ring. Isn't that cool? The color is just like, So, wow. So ascending would be Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. One card more is the Four of Clubs. We've definitely discovered something here. It's ascending or descending. The TS plus one, let's just call it that. Transform self plus one is the Four of Clubs. So for him, that would be sanity, a clarity about what one believes. I would call it security of mind. I am secure with my belief system, which, as I think Thoreau or Emerson said, I am not beholden to what I thought yesterday. It can change. That would be the ascending TS plus one for today is I feel solid and secure with my mind. I'm okay with my mind. You can get married, but just delay your travel unless you're getting married out of town. So happy. I honestly thought you were already. I know it's been 12 years. I'm serious. 12 years. And suddenly I'm like, uh-oh, you might die because of a choice you made a couple of years ago. Uh, so I want to make sure that we're legally, that's how it all came about. But it's like, that's how it seemed to come about, but it's like there's just such a rightness about it, and I really hope we can gather our kids together. He's got 2, I've got 2. They're all about the same age, and the reason we picked September is because that's when they were all free, and my guides are like, they will get here. One way or the other, they will be here, and if even if it's just them, like, that's plenty, right? God, this is crazy, this new formula I just discovered, and I don't know if it's gonna be the ascending or the descending card that is the card that's right next to you. But for Ray, for you, it's ascending. For the Three of Clubs, it's ascending. For the Four of Diamonds, let's descend. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, 1 plus. The Five of Clubs. Okay, so the Four of Diamonds does not adhere to this pattern. One is the Five of Clubs, and the other is the Nine of Hearts. So that's a little odd. Okay. I don't know. Does anybody else want to volunteer to look at this? So, Eight of Clubs, your transformed self card is the Seven of Diamonds. Plus one is the Seven of Hearts. Well, that's your ascending. That's about forgiveness, complete non-attachment. Deal like that sticky place in you that gets your feelings hurt and the sensitivities and all that. Ugh. It's getting to a place where you're completely let that go. Northern Light, thank you. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Eden, hi. I'm acknowledging you. I didn't see this before. I could really use some help understanding the Eight of Spades cosmic lesson for the King of Diamonds. Yeah, my sons are my challenge and displacement. So I'm trying to understand the relationship. Okay, what are your sons? And which one are you? The Eight of Spades. Okay, so here's the King of Diamonds, Mercury. So your Pluto is the Ten of Hearts. I would call it Saturn plus. Robert Camp calls it cosmic lesson, cosmic life lesson. So it's like a really big challenge card. Okay, 6 of clubs and the king of clubs. So the king of clubs sits in this position. It's the karma card. It's the one underneath. So, like, they represent, yeah, my ex-husband is in that position for me. Um, he's my Saturn plus, the 2 of diamonds. And the most difficult relationship I ever had was with the 6 of clubs, which sits in that exact position. So that's the parallel for me to key in on. Oh, he was the burr under my saddle. So when that 6 of clubs is in that, just being a guy, being in, like, the, I don't know, the adult club, the king of clubs. So you have a great relationship with this king of clubs. That's interesting. I have a ton of 6 of clubs in my life, but and they all kinda had this charge to them, but finally no more. So I think it's because I got the lesson. And it could be that you got that lesson a long time ago. I don't know, in another lifetime. Northern Lights, let me just read through yours real quick. Yeah. I am a 10 of clubs and moves the 9 of diamonds, and the 9 of diamonds is my card on the earth spread. Northern Lights is the 10 of clubs. 10 of clubs. And you're referring to the 9 of diamonds? Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. So your transformed self card is the 9 of diamonds when you are ascending O10 of clubs. So this ultimate achievement of the self, the greatest gift you can give upon your enlightenment to the world, is an energy of profound generosity. You're here to give something. And 10 of clubs can be caretakers in their family, like the only functional one kind of thing. So they have to completely, like, become selfish and heal from all that and not come from that survival program of being a caretaker to discover a level of generosity that is really coming out of a sense of personal abundance and, yeah. So did you know about that connection? Because I think you might be talking about a different connection. Higher octave of Saturn. Mhm. Claudio L. I'm 8 of clubs. What do you think of the queen of clubs? She sucks. No. I am the queen of clubs in 3 different ways. They're all different sort of cosmic ways of figuring things, but it's like when I finally the 3rd one got stamped on me, I was like, "Oh my god, okay, I have to really take this seriously." She's very difficult to be because of the tenderheartedness, the sensitivity, similar to the 10 of clubs. So the 10 of clubs female is gonna that maybe that's what we're talking about, is this caretaking, loving, giving, sensitivity. I need to control. I need to control you. Control is my love language. I know what's best for you. I'm going to be very directive. I need to know all the important details and information so that I can control your life so that you will be okay. That's the queen of clubs. Don't you just love them? Oh, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to be a club female because of this queen of clubs is extremely psychic, tenderhearted, sensitive, and yes, she is kind of controlling. I know, isn't it cool how you guys this always happens in these containers. And just think, through my life, of course, like I'd be sitting in a room and I'd be like, okay, here we have this informal gathering of 7 people, and I figure out everybody's card, and there are always karma cards, parallels, connections. Shit, it just got windy and something blew over out there. So I think I interrupted myself. I was in the process of answering somebody else's question or looking at something. So I'm going to scroll back a minute. Oh, I was talking about Eden and the Eight of Spades cosmic lesson. Okay, so Eight of Spades is about it's about control, it's about strength more than control. It's about strength. I'm really glad you have a great relationship with your son. And it could be because there's a respect thing of the I'm a king, you're a king, we're both empowered, and we can respect that about ourselves and each other. Like aces really get each other because they're like, I'm just really gotta be all about me in this lifetime, okay? That's just how it is. And another ace would be like, I totally get it. I just need to be alone right now. And they'll be like, yeah, yeah, me too. And they respect each other's mutual need to be alone and to be selfish. So the kings, I find that they tend to have a healthy regard for each other. So, what is this Eight of Spades cosmic lesson for you? The Eight of Spades lesson for you is to find and manage that. Like, it's a card that I'm kind of unfamiliar with the vibration, but it does hold the intersection in this spread between Jupiter and Saturn, which is a very, very powerful placement. I would say this is where a lot of the power of the King of Clubs comes from. The Three of Spades is where I first learned this because Three of Spades is horizontal Saturn, vertical Jupiter, but then here's horizontal Jupiter, vertical Saturn. So the King of Clubs, Eight of Spades, Three of Spades, Six of Diamonds. They all have that ability to exercise tremendous discipline and balance. It's an engine that can contract with the energy of Saturn, be the troubleshooter, find out what's not square, what's not right, and the expansion, inspiration, the sense of possibility that Jupiter brings. I can be my own cheerleader and troubleshooter. So those four cards have those influences. And the King of Diamonds, I would say, it's learning to manage that engine with balance and strength. Um, I would just have to ask you, does this fit for you? Because there's like, as a King of Diamonds, you're kind of a badass anyway. I would just say, does that resonate? And if it doesn't, let's talk about power control, being the field marshal, appointing yourself as the leader. That's kind of the calling of the Eight of Spades. Okay, so the balance and harmony thing resonates. Didn't understand that until I have started studying the cards, and now I have a better relationship because I know it. That is so cool. I love that. I know understanding people's cards has just given me a massive, leap into being able to deal with them with respect and understanding. Okay, did I divert from answering someone else's question and I've left you hanging? Please be bold, be courageous, just say you didn't finish talking about the because I'm sure I have more to say. Can come up with something. Northern Lights, did I cover yours? The 10 of clubs. And is this a typo? I'm the 10 of clubs and moves the 9 of diamonds, and the 9 of diamonds is my card on the earth spread. See, so I think there's a typo there. Higher octave of Saturn. Hey, Eden, 8 of spades is my Saturn card as well as your husband's. Bronze Beauty, you're the king of diamonds, right? Right, Saturn plus. Since cosmic lesson and higher octave of Saturn, I wonder what's the correlation. Oh, that's great. Less power struggles. Bronze, you're the 8 of clubs, not the king of diamonds. Okay. Yes, your Saturn card, descending Saturn. Okay, I'm with you there. So 8 of clubs, descending Saturn, right there. Um, okay, so with my daughter as the 8 of clubs, her capacity, so clubs have the gift of charm. 8 of clubs have the gift of charm plus deception and manipulation with that Jack of spades in their moon position. So what I observed in my daughter through high school is that, like, I didn't realize she had really shitty grades because I knew she was brilliant and I was just out of touch as kind of a nine, a seven of diamonds dancing in the cosmos instead of like being on the ground and parenting. Um, yeah, which was really hard on her. I mean, that's the tapestry I've given her. So she charmed and manipulated rather than learned the hard way to do the hard work. And that's something that the 8 of spades represents is physical power, hard work, discipline. Like it's a military vibration. And when we think of people in the military, what we really, really appreciate about them is that sense of discipline, the ability to put my thoughts and feelings to the side and accomplish something, even though it might hurt. So, yeah, I like your back and forth. So you're saying less power struggles. Yeah, I don't know if that discipline thing resonates with you guys, but that's something I've observed about 8 of spades. It does represent discipline as a So when if you know a 10 of diamonds as a Mercury card, it's definitely it's like a control card. It's a bad type of yeah. So feel free to clarify what you meant. Because I like talking about the 9 of diamonds. It's it holds a very special place in my life. It's my descending Saturn as a 9 of hearts. And nines can be about lack and fear or see the direction can be like a vacuum, like never getting enough, never having enough. Discipline was one of your hardest lessons. Okay. So a nine is going to be it is the directional flow. Where is it going to go? Is it going to go out in a form of generosity where I'm in control of the energy that goes out in a form of service? Or is it going to be, I never get enough? I'm a vacuum. I'm like my 9 of clubs can be, I'm so confused, I don't know. I'm so lost. Or it can be, I'm open to learning. And so 9 of diamonds can be generosity or fear of lack. That's one of them. So, Northern Lights, I'm trying to remember. The lesson card I heard is a higher octave of Saturn. Yes. That's why I call it Saturn Plus and Saturn Plus Plus. Like the transformed self card is also Saturn Plus Plus. All we know is that it's kind of difficult because when you like we might be discovering more planets in our solar system that inform the system and we're going, "Oh, this is what the system was talking about." So we kind of know that the cards have this the planets have a valence that switches back and forth. Um, like Mercury is power of the mind, Venus is love, Mars is task, energy, and moving forward, and Jupiter is more like kind and beneficent and mature, much more mature than Mars. Saturn is hard, and Uranus doesn't care. Neptune is like really dreamy and out there, and Pluto is like, we shock you awake. But, so we see them kind of go back and forth. So all I can tell you for sure is that the transformed self card is like what I would think of as your ultimate challenge in this lifetime. But then the plus one, that one more card, it's like a reversal. It's one card less than you in many cases. And it's like, oh, okay, how can I drop back to the wisdom of the 6 of diamonds? What's there that I've completely maybe I was in a past life. Maybe I don't know, but 6 of diamonds in my life are definitely like like my very best friend in the whole world for my entire life, well, a lot of my life, is my sister-in-law, who is the 6 of diamonds, and it's like, I see that she's a flawed human being, but she's got a formula that it's like, "Will I ever get that? Will I ever figure that out?" So, okay, well, I kinda guess that's enough for now unless anybody else has any questions. We've been going for a while, exactly an hour. That was really fun and really satisfying. Okay, well, just gonna wait another 10 seconds for final comments or questions because of the delay. Thank you so much for participating. That is one of the most satisfying and instructional things. It's satisfying for me, and the container becomes instructional. Eden, you're welcome. And thank you for sharing yours. I love that the cards have reached a place where there's a lot of people out there that are really wielding this for the tool that it is. And we can have more in-depth conversations and insights that can come through as a result of this collective container of wisdom and stuff. Okay, have a great day. Bye.